Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this. Today we're unpacking something that looks at first glance like a sleek, minimalist mobile puzzle, but honestly, underneath the glass of your phone screen, it's actually a full-blown mathematical arcade machine. We're talking about a high-stakes simulation that generates completely unique cryptographic assets in what the developers call a probabilistic infinite. It's called the SOSO game, and today we're going to break down exactly how this fascinating geometric drawing engine works step by step.
Right, so to really get SOS, we first have to boot up the system. Imagine opening the app on your phone. You aren't just starting a level, you're initiating a session, what the system actually calls walk.config. You're basically stepping into this pristine, invisible lattice grid. And you'll notice immediately, there are no fantasy characters here, absolutely no cartoon combat. Instead, it's this clean, retro-futurist interface that feels way more like a data scientist toolkit, or maybe some kind of cryptographic toy. We're setting up for a run where literally every single tap carries astronomical mathematical weight.
And boom, this is where the puzzle actually kicks off. You've got these really distinct geometric zones: a yellow square, a red diamond, and a blue triangle. Plus, you have your starting point and, crucially, a solid black circle. Now, these are not just decorative shapes, they are absolute game logic objects. We're currently in the spawn.config state, and that short, curved black line is the very beginning of our path. It's the walk itself. Think of it as a random stochastic drawing machine just waking up and getting ready to navigate the space.
It literally feels alive, right? Almost like a geometric creature. It's actively drawing itself step by step across the grid, choosing turns, avoiding forbidden areas, all while trying desperately to return to its origin. And as it weaves through that lattice, it collides with those colored influence zones. Every single interaction alters the probability of its very next move. It is navigating a space where the possible permutations rival the number of atoms in the known universe. It's kind of mind-blowing.
Then, as the grid expands to higher levels, the complexity just absolutely explodes. We enter the active mining state. The score counter starts rapidly ticking up, and those red, blue, and yellow tally boxes, the RGB hit counters, they're changing in real time as the path intersects the different influence zones. You have to realize, this isn't just an arbitrary video game score. You are actually watching structural mining pressure build up as the path grows exponentially more complex, twisting and turning on itself, just trying to survive and close the loop.
Now you might be wondering, what's the point of the score? Well, it is fundamentally important. In the SOSCO ecosystem, scoring represents true proof of work. That generated score corresponds directly to the mathematical difficulty, the length, and the overall efficiency of the path you're mining. Finding a pristine, high-node walk requires immense computational effort. Every successful run is basically a mathematically pure anomaly that you've just pulled out of that probabilistic infinite space.
So the real emotional climax hits when the path finally returns to its origin and snaps shut. When this lock-in happens, the system immediately classifies your newly formed geometric shape into one of two identities, depending purely on where that black dot ended up. If the black dot is left on the outside of your completed loop, it gets classified as a SOSO. But if your path managed to fully enclose that elusive black circle, you hit the jackpot. That is classified as a shinuchi, or a true SOSO.
Landing a shinuchi is a total game changer. It's infinitely rarer, and it instantly slaps a massive 5x multiplier onto your score. But the system goes even deeper than that. True value here unlocks through mathematical beauty. If the app analyzes your completed path and finds reflective or rotational symmetries, like the incredibly rare Tsuji-Kaiichi symmetry, your score just skyrockets. A high score isn't about fast reflexes, it's a literal mathematical proof of a highly improbable, geometrically beautiful path.
Okay, so once the shape is sealed and scored, the application instantly goes into lockdown mode to secure it. Every tokenized walk is governed by 3 unforgeable hash layers to completely prevent algorithmic counterfeits. Step 1 is the gray hash. That acts as a temporal footprint, proving the walk was genuinely mined in real time on your specific device. Step 2 is the blue hash, locking the precise coordinate path into a permanent hexadecimal string. And finally, Step 3, reserved for the most massive paths, is the 5x5 visual rune.
Let's look at how this identity system actually prints onto your screen. For the shorter, foundational walks, we're talking under 256 nodes. A translation formula, known as a CRC algorithm, turns the geometry into a unique syllabic name. So you get a pronounceable name like Kemikako-mi printed right there in orange, making your specific shape highly collectible. And right beneath that, you get that long string of blue text. That is your blue hash payload, permanently locking in the geometric signature.
But what happens when things get truly massive? When you mine a sprawling, intricate walk that pushes past 256 nodes, the naming system actually breaks down entirely. It gets replaced by the 5x5 rune hash. It's this incredibly complex 5-digit sequence that renders as a solid visual block. And let's be clear, these aren't some kind of fantasy magic runes. They are literal, generated visual fingerprints derived directly from your mathematical game result. It is the absolute visual identifier for top-tier assets. The split second those hashes lock in on your screen, the round is officially over. You get this incredibly satisfying flash, block minted. The interface then immediately transitions to vault behavior, saving your brand new geometric creation straight into your local index.config wallet. Because remember, you aren't just clearing a level in a video game here. You have just successfully minted a permanent, archived digital object.
Which brings us to the grand vision of the developers, the whole endgame of this ecosystem. Once the player base has mined a large enough local vault of these unique geometric proofs, the entire ecosystem transitions onto the blockchain. That score you built up under intense mining pressure, that becomes token value. The syllabic names in those 5x5 runes, they become your unforgeable NFT metadata. As the source material itself states, players aren't just playing a game, they are participating in the genesis block of a new, mathematically pure cryptocurrency.
So the absolute core takeaway here is this. SOSO completely disguises an incredibly deep cryptographic mining operation as a sleek, satisfying mobile puzzle. It takes the highly abstract concept of proof of work and makes it tangible, visual, geometric, and honestly, genuinely addictive. Which leaves us with one final thought. Next time you open that retro-futurist interface and stare down that blank, invisible grid as you boot up the probabilistic infinite, will your next tap mine a standard SOSO, or will you somehow manage to trap that black circle and mint the ultimate Shinuchi? I guess there's really only one way to find out. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.